anniversary of Earth Day tomorrow. We'll be tuning in for Earth Day Online, the largest civic event ever. So check out earthday.org on April 22nd. Before we get to the story that we have selected for tonight, I have a couple of important reminders for the grown-ups who are tuning in this evening. Yesterday, my team and I gave blood to the Red Cross. We want to encourage everyone who is able to make an appointment to donate. Times like this, blood and plasma donations are in short supply, and so donations are greatly needed. You can download the new Red Cross blood donation app or call 1-800-733-2767. Second, census participation is nowhere near where it needs to be here in Montgomery County. 40% of our households have not yet answered the census. Please take the time to be counted. Answer your census questionnaire tonight. You can do that online. You can call. Without your participation, we all lose funding, we lose resources, and even votes in Congress. So please make sure that you fill out your census tonight would be great. Speaking of resources and support, I know we are all trying to take the challenges of COVID in stride each day, doing our level best to manage our feelings and help our families manage theirs. One area of particular need in our community are mental health professionals. I sat down with a few of these amazing practitioners to talk about the industry and how we can help each other get through this quarantine together. We will publish that video of that conversation on our Facebook page and on our website on Thursday. I hope you will tune in. I hope you will find a few nuggets that can help you process all that's coming at you. And most importantly, I encourage anyone that might benefit from speaking to a professional to reach out and get connected to the resources available to them. Finally, on the eve of the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, we must remember to protect the resources we can't live without: our clean air, our water, and the soil for food. Kendall is our household's resident Cheltenham School District Green Ambassador and has chosen our family project for tomorrow. Kendall, what are we doing?
Tomorrow, my family and I are going to head over to a creek near our house to pull trash and debris from its banks. We have gone on a bunch of family hikes during this coronavirus shutdown, and I was sad to see how much trash there was, so we're going to take some trash bags and clean it up a little. And speaking of too much trash in the water, did you know that there is a place in the Pacific Ocean called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and it is basically 600,000 square miles of straight trash. And there is also 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic debris in the ocean as of 2020. And obviously this is bad because we are basically just killing marine life every day. So
that is the joy of our family's Green Ambassador program. Thank you to the school district for continuing to encourage all of our students to learn more. I'm thrilled to get out there tomorrow to commemorate Earth Day, online and through action. Tonight, we're going to awaken the next generation of activists with a classic story that has shaped many a young environmentalist, the Lorax. So we're going to celebrate the power of this next generation and their unrelenting will to do the right thing. From Greta Thunberg to our own Pennsylvania kids who send the Lorax to Washington, we must remember our kids are the future. Let's elevate and magnify their voices, because unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. All right. One of my favorites, Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. At the far end of town, where the crinkled grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grinkle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grinkle grass grows. The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents in the nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail and makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-my-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slurp. Down slips the whisper-my-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swommy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the rocks I saw a brown barbalots, frisking about in their barbalot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted and feed. The instant I'd finished, I'd heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish, brownish and mossy. And he spoke with a voice that was sharpest and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made out of my truffle of truff? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I just chopped one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers of bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool. Thneed. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You can never tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for a whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at the Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffle trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who play in the shade of their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffle of fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle of fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting their crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies in tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds. And then I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed, and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snarled and sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a kerfuffless croak. Onceler, you're making such smokulous smoke. My poor swoomy swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax. His dander was up. Let me say a few words about gluppity glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup, and also sloppity slop. And what do you do with that leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins to get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then he got mad. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now, listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir. And I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. He hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot. Nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed, the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. And feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. Happy Earth Day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.